Rarely do we have the opportunity to present intelligent and serious art that would be the envy of museum collections. All the more pleasant and responsible is the task of presenting Alexander Konstantinovich Bogomazov's graphic works. Alexander Konstantinovich Bogomazov is an outstanding Ukrainian artist, a great follower of Cubo-Futurism, without which one cannot imagine the completeness of the Russian avant-garde. The master went through a parallel course in the formation of the avant-garde from the symbolism of the blue rose, the impressionism of Wenka Stefanos, to the cubo-futurist manifestos of 1910. The artist remains sensitive, attentive and ethical in the midst of the rampant radical quest for modernism. He is interested in the living and direct human being with his variety of characters and the depth of his feelings. Whatever the stylistic forms of his figures, they are always warm, vital and emotionally colored. In this sense, his graphic search pictures and easel paintings from 1915 to 1916 are interesting. Graphic portrait of a woman with a book. 1915. The cubo-futuristic composition shows a lady reading. With narrowed eyes, she is completely absorbed in the book, which she is holding with her clawed hands. The entourage of clothing is clearly visible. The wide, semicircular lines of the dress, the button-down on the collar a la sailor. In addition to the pointed, foxy look of the pretty young lady, the artist adds character to her broad cheekbones and the downturned corners of her concentrated mouth. She wears a high, feathered hairstyle. The pony and the intense perception are embodied by the reflection of the book in the lady's head. An open book with a pony of pages covers her head and forms the rhombus of the cornerstone of perception. The atmosphere is seemingly completed by the scattered light behind the heroine's back, where the corner of a cupboard can be seen at the bottom right and a fragment, perhaps with a reduced projection, of the window through which light enters above under the feathers. Here, however, is more of the occasional depth of character. Triple portrait. 1916. This is a combination of three multi-page portraits showing facets of a person's character. Clearly visible are the profile and facets of a bald man with glasses, wearing a suit, with tie and button on the lapel. The third silhouette unites the previous two and is the counterpart of the profile. It represents the radical materiality seen from the back of the head, while the profile drawing carries the facet of psychological characteristics, of a way of life. The facet is the inner, sought-after image of the tired lyricist. The cranial sphere with the open mouth and convex brow arches is more an act of surprise, an unfamiliar matter seen from behind, and seems like a frightening physical objectivity of the man. Even though there is more of a methodological argument with fellow artists in the fervor of provocation, Bogomazov still clearly extends the three-dimensional idea. Graphic portrait of a woman. 1916, a long-necked and pointed lady with a kerchief and veil. Figure and nature with a cube-shaped head covered by a veil. With an atrium of beautiful femininity, a feather falling from her head and a handkerchief in her clawed hand. Her frustrated resolve does not bode well. But how good she is in her anger. The zigzags in the lower right part of the work might be a reference to the corset lacing that we see in the young lady coming down the street diagonally. The imagery of the work, however, exhibits a greater degree of impressionistic evanescence than avant-garde manifestation. In the 20th century, cubo-futurism was one of the main strategies. Gives us the experience of thinking about the essence of something. The pleasure of understanding, knowing, and accepting the picture is. It is metaphysics, the process by which the key becomes crystallized, the characteristic that happens in the eternal. Each direction strives for generalization, for freedom from forms, and for abstract ideas. So, in cubo-futurism, the master's landscape and still life experiments lead to quite abstract searches. It's a pleasure to follow them and figure out what they mean. Abstract composition. 1916. It might have been a landscape that inspired the stylization. The house is surrounded by a garden with a feather hanging from the roof and has a four-pitched roof. There is a shady branch or raindrops rolling down on the window shutters in this case. The volume of the house is well read at the base of the composition. Around it, the crowns of the garden trees form spheres, where they are spotted with apples. There is also a vegetal chaos of bushes and grasses, rain cloud, a tree trunk. The homey feel is created by the paths by the house and the branches that hang over the windows. Abstract composition. 1915. The starting point for the stylization was a still life form with a large plant in the floor against a windowsill and window under the slope of the roof. Abstract composition. 1916. A composition where lightning zigzags between two spheres and draws in the floors. The reality of the rural landscape is broken through with cues in the lower register. The right sphere looks like a fruit-bearing tree's crown, while the left sphere reads a window with a window sill. In the middle, there are vertical logs from some kind of log cabin and a piece of an open window or a perch, or maybe a window sill. These sheets are a living legacy of a great artist and thinker. A time when the world was changing. They are aimed at those who love clever art, who enjoy pushing the horizons, and who are curious about man with all their souls.